In the year 1997, the future is in chaos and turmoil. Mankind is on the brink of extinction. Brave survivors band together and build a time displacement apparatus to receive a signal from a parallel future. This transmission is the VundaCast.
There's one team that kicks ass. They're assembled. They're the VundaCast. Never back down from the brass. Always start first. Never finish last. Had a mic steam. Been too fast. Oh no, they're out of gas. It's okay there. Just a podcast. They're the greatest. We're the VundaCast.
Welcome to the VundaCast, the official podcast of VundaBlog.com, the home of a New England folk story from the mind of Bobby Eggers today. We are watching The Witch, the seminal film of the 21st century, as historians of the future will tell us.
Whoa.
And I am your host today. It is I, Steven, and with me is the devil's favorite cousin. How are you doing, Chicken Nugget?
I'm not the devil's cousin, I'm his girlfriend.
Sorry, Dani. Dani, the devil's girlfriend, is with us.
The devil's parasocial girlfriend.
He knows who I
He knows who we all are.
Also with us, the dapper decorator
Whoa.
of the Dungeon of Doom. We are decked out for VundaHalloweenathon this year. There's spooky things everywhere. I was scared by a fake Braven and a skull. The They of Days D-Rock is in the house.
What up?
And this movie was a toss-up via a Twitter poll.
Mm-hmm, that's
of
right.
3 possible
That's
options.
This is the big reveal of what that was about.
And the witch won hands mightily.
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 Yeah.
Sorry, that's just probably my Twitter audience. They're gonna pick the witch.
So as this podcast drops on this beautiful Witchy Wednesday of VundaHalloweenathon, we are celebrating all things witch and occult in cinema.
And pagan.
And pagan.
Pagan stuff.
Can't forget the pagans
that's
or the
good
Wiccans.
Well, that's, yeah.
That's in the same...
Under the umbrella, I
Under
think.
the umbrella? Okay. All umbrellas of craft. Welcome.
Yes.
So let's start the Vivitch.
The
The
Vivid.
We are watching the Blu-ray. It should be like 93 minutes. We are at the opening screen
There's like
of an
explosion
exploding logo.
happening.
We are starting in 3, 2, fun, boom. So, on the day this drops, October 2nd,
You gotta
me and
turn
Dani
that
will
subwoofer
currently be on the road across the great state of America, traveling through the
State of America.
heartland
State of
of the...
America.
Aren't we're the United States, doesn't that make us one state? Once we're united?
Sure.
Like when all of the...
Something like
When
that.
all of the Megazords create the, Super Megazord. The United States is the Super Megazord of everything we are. We'll be
The
traveling
movie has not started yet. We're already on Transformers.
Maiden
So
Voyage
this is
Pictures.
This is a good sign.
Production.
The Mott
Mott
Street
Street, oh,
Pictures Productions. So
There's so many studios.
in breaking news,
Producing
we're
this.
going to talk about some breaking news right now. So
Breaking
there
news?
was
Whoa.
a recent A24 movie that came out that
What?
was starring the great artist Brandy.
Wow.
That it's like about like some like old lady that like Brandy's, it's like her like evil mother-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently that movie, which is a huge failure,
Wow.
and the biggest failure for A24,
Oh, no.
Wow, that's sad.
is made by Robert Eggers' brothers, who are twins.
That's sad.
So they're directing under the name the Eggers Brothers. So
let's start this off by talking about Robert Eggers' brothers' failures. I'm sure he will love that.
Robert, if you hear this,
here is his non-failure.
It's breaking news. If he didn't have this success with The Witch, Brandy would have never gotten this part.
I'm gonna tell you though, when we saw this movie in theaters, people had some strong reactions, and they were not all positive.
Yes, this is the first movie.
This was a controversial film. For many.
This is the first movie
general audience members
that we've ever done a commentary track to. That me and Dani did an actual review of watching it in theaters.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never saw this in theaters. They're showing it this month. I wanna go. They're showing it on. No, it's on. It's on a Wednesday, but it's not.
We went to see this in theaters, and it.
Someone got so upset that they asked for their money back because they brought their 8-year-old
I don't know
daughter
what
to watch this
exactly
movie.
they thought they were gonna get with the Vivitch. But it was really hilarious because they waited until the movie was over to ask for a refund, and that's kind of like eating the burger and then
right,
like leave
this
in the
was
middle.
horrible.
Leave in the middle. The guy, the person at the ticket office would refuse to give them the refund.
Yeah, you watched the whole movie.
You already watched the movie. It's too late. And then there was an old Hispanic man who was muttering something in Spanish the whole time.
He kept on saying what a piece of shit this movie was.
Yeah.
As he was watching
As he was watching it
He's
out
like,
loud.
"Oh, que mierda esta. Que tomada soy."
So needless to say, The Witch is definitely more of like a film lovers kind of movie. Though I think that as time has gone on,
Native Americans, shout out to the original people.
And it's also like
I think it's grown in other people's circles. But yes, it's still, this movie has a very specific sort of appeal to specific audience.
Well, and it's also, I think, especially the first time you watch it, it's like weird. Like, what the fuck?
Well,
because you don't really know.
It's definitely
what
like
it's going for.
The language in and of itself, I think, alienates like
huge amounts of the general audience.
A large swath of people who just don't even want to interact with it.
And The Lighthouse is even worse. Like, when I saw that movie in theaters, I was like, I need to watch this again with subtitles because I don't know what the fuck is being said in this movie.
What Robert Eggers was going for remembering articles I read, is that he wanted immersion. So
it is. It's completely immersive.
He wants you to feel like these people feel. So his goal is for you to engage with the movie as these people engage in this world.
Right.
So the superstition, all these things, he wants you to sort of question, is this happening? Is this their mind? What is it? And also eventually gives you sort of enough supernatural that you can go, okay, I think that, something's going on with this girl.
Well,
but we still don't even know.
He's actually said that, like, there are two very clear interpretations of this film. All this is actually happening, and all of this is actually in their head.
Exactly.
And it's up to you to decide which one.
And it's extremely possible to watch the movie from either angle.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very much
honestly,
an interesting
I
journey to go
enjoy
on.
watching it from, like, both. Like, somehow, like, both are happening at this. Like, their imaginations and their energies, like, feed it somehow or something. I don't know how that actually works.
I enjoy the interpretation that it's all real, mostly just because I feel like there's a level of emancipation for Anya Taylor-Joy's character when you look at it from the perspective of this is really happening. And it's kind of interesting, it's dark, but it's an interesting sort of emancipation.
Yeah, I mean, and like, she's the only one that, like, is, like, an okay person in this movie. Like, it's, like, all the rest of,
I think that's different.
Not Caleb, maybe, but, like, she's the only one that, like, doesn't do shitty things to people. Pretty much.
I think it's sort of I think it's difficult.
And she's the one that ends up going Hail Satan. Like, that's the kind of the cool part of it.
Yeah, I think the thing about Thomason is that's the thing too, is that it all depends on your perspective, right? Like, if you look at it like this is all in their heads, then the heavy implication is maybe she killed her family, went mad, killed her family, and ran off into the woods. But the other interpretation
Right,
is,
and that begs the question of whose hallucination
yeah, that
are
you're
we
seeing.
seeing
Exactly.
at any given time?
But if she is left standing, one can possibly assume it's her hallucinations that we're seeing, and therefore
or
her
everybody's
actions. Yeah, I mean,
hallucinations interchangeably. It could
So,
be.
so
Or
there's an
living-
interesting thing that it harkens back to in the Salem witch trials. Some people believed that they were seeing things because they had been poisoned by mushrooms. I think it was like mushrooms or a fungus or something. I would have to look.
Well, there's
And so that could be kind of like
There's
one of
such
Robert Eggers' possibilities. Like maybe he's like, oh, they all got poisoned by the Salem mushrooms, and they all started seeing everything.
there's a fungus that grows. It doesn't actually grow on corn, but the implication is, their corn is rotten.
Yeah.
That's a very subtle implication. I love this thing they do with there's one tree that shakes and she's gone, and it's like, how the fuck? And then she's just running normal through the air. Time to make some baby jelly.
Ergot. It's called
ergot, yeah.
It's a fungus.
It doesn't grow on corn, but it grows on rye.
It grows on other foods, and so that was the possibility for why
And it causes hallucinations.
the children of Salem saw things or accused people of being witches, and so sort of the idea here.
This is really interesting thing that I've learned in the many, many times that I've watched this movie. If you watch this shot, at the very, very end, it reverses a little bit just to spend more time on the knife.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see it go whoop, and that's what comes from so this is definitely not the movie I've seen the most times in my entire life, but of the movies that I have cataloged every single time I've watched them in Letterboxd, this is tied for number one with The Spine of Night. I've watched them each 32 times.
Damn,
and this
but
is
Repo Man has to be close.
Repo Man's at 20, and that's just this year. So Repo Man's gonna get there for sure. Baby jelly, yeah. Mash that.
Also, every time we see these witches in the woods, it's always different. There's the pretty one with the red.
Well,
that could be the same one.
The implication is that she's covering herself in baby jelly.
Yeah, and then
because she's
turning
trying to
into
be
that.
young.
But
Yeah.
I'm saying that also plays into
Well,
the idea.
that's actually something.
Of the shifting.
That's an idea from those days that there was an ointment that you could make from rendered fat of babies that made you fly. And that's it was a couple times watching this before I realized that's what was going on in this scene. Was she's rubbing herself with the baby jelly and rubbing it on her broomstick so that she can fly.
Yeah.
And then this shot is so cool because it's so subtle. You don't even realize when she's she looks like she's walking, and then suddenly she looks like she's floating, and you're like, oh shit! It's with the big moon in the background, man. Bobby Eggs.
And this is a very, iconic visual of the witch flying through the moon, but done in a totally different.
Like the cartoon we see all the time,
yeah.
the witch flying over the moon.
And he says in interviews that what he was going for was an extremely prototypical New England witch story.
Because this is where those things originated,
Yep.
you know? Yeah, absolutely.
And he grew up in New England, which is why I'm calling him Bobby Eggs.
That's
probably what they called him at school.
This kid, Harvey Scrimshaw, he deserved a fucking Oscar for this performance.
He was excellent.
He was so, especially his possession scene, he is
I kind of feel
incredible.
I wish the Academy would just never nominate kids for Oscars.
Yeah.
Let's just give a kid an award when a kid does a good performance. Just give the kid...
him a Nickelodeon
Just
award.
give the kid the award. You got the best performance of the year under 12. Whatever you want to call it.
A participation trophy.
Here's your Oscar.
Yeah.
You have a kid Oscar. Congratulations.
It's also...
Because it kind of ruins them for the rest of, their expectations go, through the roof
It's
for
the
the
same
rest
thing
of their
happened
career.
to that poor girl for the Beast of, what was it called? The Beast of the Southern Kingdom?
Kavanjane Willis?
Is that her name?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, once you're nominated for an Oscar and you're 8,
yeah.
where do you
go from there?
I guess heroin's the way to go. I don't know.
Well, she actually Beast of the Southern Wild, she did Annie, and Annie didn't do that well, so that kind of was like sort of a struggle for her. She also had to put up with a lot of bullshit and a lot of racism. It was really terrible. People were awful to her.
Sure.
So it might be that she just sort of tapped out, which is unfortunate, and it does happen.
It sure seems like you need a large bandwidth for racism and hatred in modern Hollywood.
Awesome!
Yeah.
Great job, evereverone. Really doing wonderful.
The star system.
So I love to watch this movie, like, when you look at the perspective of, like, different types of horror, right? But before you get to sort of all the madness and the witching and the blah, blah, blah. I think there's, like, it's, to me, as a modern person, the struggle of I mean, and maybe not even as a modern person, because some people still live like this, but, like, the struggle of, like, having to live with your entire family in one large room, and you're a boy, and you have no other people in your community around you besides you and your family. Like, yo, like,
and
weird,
like
weird
extremely
things happen, man.
Puritan.
Yeah.
Like all these rules for how you do everything to
Also
not go to hell.
Their father too is even more, because he's a zealot. Like, he literally left the community because he felt like they weren't zealous enough.
Yeah, he left a fucking Puritan community because he thought they weren't religiously zealotrous enough.
One of the interesting things I picked up from watching Robert Eggers' interviews was he was talking about how the fact that they would read the Bible in English was something that in the old country they weren't allowed to do.
Nope.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that, like, they're doing it here in America, and that was something that was, like, forbidden where they were from.
It's like a new level of religious freedom.
It's them expressing this freedom, even though to us in this modern world,
of course, right.
It seems like they're living in a prison.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, this was like the advent of a new, like, frontier of religious freedom.
Like, in a way, it's progressive in a way.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe that's the reason why they're falling to Satan, because they started reading the Word of God from the wrong word. You know?
Oh, yeah, right.
Maybe this is why.
And translations and interpretations, man. We don't know how much they've changed the Bible from its original form. So yeah, absolutely.
Maybe the English version of the Bible is just intrinsically evil,
or cursed, or like mistranslated sometimes.
Yeah, like the King James version. What if it's cursed?
The King James.
Oh jeez.
Let's go.
Old James.
Maybe.
Let's go. We gotta pull these Bibles. Are haunted.
But no, I do. I definitely love watching this also as like the main antagonist being religious fervor. Like, they destroy each other.
I also think
religious fervor.
I also think some of the antagonists in this is isolationism. Like,
totally.
They leave, their community because the dispute that they have, but that is a death sentence. Like, there was a reason why ostracization used to be a literal, like a death penalty punishment.
They would put people on a horse and send them out of town.
Because
That's death.
They knew you had you have no one around you to help you survive the winter, to hunt, to to share, to trade. Like, you will die, and also just the isolation. Thomason is now she's taken away from any other children her age, so she can, like, so is the little boy, and he's starting to go through puberty, like, all of those things.
Like, they can barely, I mean, there's every now and then they'll like go see somebody and trade, but like the ability to not be able to trade on a daily basis, to go buy what you need for your form, like it is really, like, almost impossible to live this way at this time.
It's impossible to really live this way in modern times, honestly. Really, we can see the consequences of people being isolated, and loneliness is an epidemic in our society now. So this is the thing. It's like, people don't want to meet each other, but we do. Like,
exactly.
It's sort of important. So I think it's definitely, like, when you look at it from the angle of, okay, this is just them going solely insane. Part of it's the loneliness.
I wonder if this is,
like, she loses
production design, or if it's
a
like
real tree.
A real, because whatever it is, whether they found it or built it, it's fucking gnarly as fuck. It
looks like the roots.
The vibes of this movie. This movie might be the all-time great vibes movie. Like, there's so many different ways that the vibes are so on point.
I think that
I love it so much.
Well, like recently we saw In a Violent Nature, and that movie it's very similar visuals of woods and like stuff. And I feel like both of those movies can just play on like just quiet and just like catch
Except
the
I feel
The Revenant is like that too.
The Witch has far more to say than In a Violent Nature.
Obviously,
the vibes in A Violent Nature are just that. They're just vibes. It feels to me like a YouTube ASMR movie for a serial killer. Like,
right.
That's kind of how it felt.
Well, my thing is, if In a Violent Nature was like 25 minutes funny, that shit would have been the
Yeah.
Okay. Ralph Ineson. I was reading
that voice, man.
That
that voice is part of the vibes.
Ralph Ineson, who's soon gonna play Galactus for the Marvel Universe, is gonna bring that voice to Galactus.
Appropriate.
He's responsible partly for Harvey Scrimshaw's performance in the movie.
Really?
Bobby Eggers had a hard time directing Harvey Scrimshaw, and Ralph Ineson has a history of working and directing child actors.
Oh wow,
cool.
So he coached him up and like kind of coached him as if he was preparing for a high stakes game of football, is what he told people.
Oh wow.
And he coached him through all the most difficult scenes and directed him.
That's really cool.
So
That's
it's
awesome.
nice to know that this was a collaborative.
Ralph Ineson is like everywhere now, man. People heard that voice and were like, "Oh my god, I have to get that in my movie somehow."
He's
in
great.
he's in the Pope's
actor.
Exorcist. He's in Onyx the Fortuitous. He's always a demon, obviously. Like, what else could you do? Oh yeah. But that's the genius of this, is having him play like the adversary of the demon. But he has that voice.
And there's moments like this in the movie where you can like barely see them through the brush. Like,
I mean, yeah, wanting to get the impression of the denseness and the isolation of this forest.
Yeah, they continually show you how they're,
It's almost like a black hole in a way. There's like a magic to it because of the witch. The witch has this like this gravitational pull almost.
is there any?
This hair. Apparently, this hair was like the most well-behaved animal on the whole set.
Well, supposedly also the hair was considered, at least at the time, like a symbol of magic.
Yes.
Because they were so rare to see. So
It's
every
such a
time you
great-
see the hair in the movie, you could say there's something
part of
magical happening.
part of it's the idea that they're familiars.
I mean, I think that's the
Animal
implication
familiars,
of this, is that the rabbit did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
The animal is a familiar, and so is the eyes of the witch.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So they shot this in only 25 days.
Yeah.
Which is pretty impressive considering
pretty
how many
insane.
animals
Yeah.
and children.
kids,
You know?
and it's in the middle of nowhere.
Like, you have the most people in the first, 3 minutes of the movie, so that's,
Yeah.
the busiest day on set, probably. And then it's, limited location, limited actors.
I love
so
this
that's
scene
in your
here
favor.
of she's realizing how evil the lyrics of this song that they're singing is. And she's like, whoa, wait a minute, what are they?
And then you ask yourself, where did they learn this song?
Right,
Did they
right.
invent it in their heads? Did they hear it on the wind? Did they hear it from town?
Yeah, right.
You know, it's so interesting.
Did someone whisper it in their ear?
TikTok, listening to the Black Phillip TikTok sounds.
Black Phillip, the hottest DJ in Massachusetts.
DJ Black Phillip.
Yo, we should clip that song and put it on TikTok. The Black Phillip song, yeah? Let's go.
Yo, I'm telling you right now, I don't know any stories about this goat, but I bet you this goat was not a fun dude on set.
No,
I bet you
man.
this goat
I mean,
was
everybody kind of knows the stories now of Black Phillip being like the most ill-behaved animal.
Yeah.
But this, I read this online that this scene where he knocks him over, this really happened.
Yeah, he's a pissy goat.
He
Look at those horns.
This
Dude,
was not in the script for this to happen.
No, he's a pissy goat.
Yeah.
And I bet you those kids laughing is probably not.
Yeah,
even
right, exactly.
It's like, ha, you
I'll
fat.
have thee quiet.
It's interesting too because the children are so at the mercy of their parents, and then their parents are at the mercy
of
nature and the elements so completely that it's just such a thin layer of security between life and death.
Yeah.
for everybody.
And the kids are like constantly trying to get away from the control of the parents. Like
But
they're the most like
they're
rebellious,
forced,
like.
but they're forced to, like, that's the thing. Yeah, and that's.
And they're kids. Like they
But
want to
look
run
at-
around
like,
and they can't.
Caleb is barely older than those children, but
Mhm.
they're already like, no, now
And
you're
he's
a
like
man.
the man of the
you're
house,
a man
right.
now,
Yeah.
and you have to help. And he's trying, and you can see it.
Mhm. Yeah. And she's like, you're supposed to mind the children. Like, they won't listen to me.
Yeah.
And she's like, what's the matter with you? It's like, what? They won't listen to me.
Damn, Ralph Innocent got abs, yeah?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Innocent abs?
When they had families like this, well, they were large. They didn't have family planning, and they
Mhm.
it literally became a system of hierarchy. Like, the older children were tasked with watching the younger children. You know what I mean? And so on
Yeah,
and so
right.
forth forever.
And they also had to be farm hands.
Yeah.
I was
You know?
thinking if I
Workers. There was
they
they
were
were bodies.
workers. You had kids to work on your
Mhm.
fucking farm.
if I traveled back in time to this
Mhm.
time period
you would not
with
survive.
like a pack of like Plan B,
Uh-huh. They would burn you with a
and
witch.
They
a
would,
fucking,
yes.
and a garden hoe,
They burn you
Right?
with a witch.
Garden hoe.
They had a
I
hoe.
could fucking conquer these motherfuckers.
Steven, they had a garden hoe. Do
They
you mean
did?
like a machine? Yes, a machine, yes, but they have garden hose.
What are more advanced gardening equipment than they have?
Yeah, so
Okay.
electronic equipment, gas-powered equipment.
No.
But you would need to get gas.
No.
This is one of those things too that like you only really get it rewatching it. But there's a moment at the end of the movie where she says, "Thou can do nothing save chop wood," and they show him chopping wood constantly in this movie. Like at least 3 or 4 times they show him chop it, and it gets increasingly like angry
Yeah.
the way he chops the wood because he knows that she's right about that.
Yeah.
That's all he can do. He can't hunt. He can't make the crops yield. He can't do shit. He can't keep his kids in line.
What I love is that just the moment of him having to wear a blanket, because literally this is the only pair of clothes he has, really sort of hones in on just how poor these people are. Like, he does not have a change of clothes.
Mm-hmm.
This is the outfit he takes on and off every day, and that's it.
There's another thing too, and we kind of missed it when it happened, but the moment where he like
No, he
looks at her tit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another like. I mean, it's creepy, but it's also like they're in isolation. That's the
not-
only
but
tit
That's
he'll
what I
ever
was,
see.
That's what I was talking about. No, but it's even earlier than that. That's what I was talking about. Like when they're all sharing the room and she's moaning in her sleep.
Mm.
He's looking at her like he's starting. You know what I mean? Like that's what
It's
I'm
like, why
saying.
is my penis moving?
Like it's fucked up, but it's true.
No,
like,
but yeah, like
it's like they're so in isolation,
and
they're-
look
and
how
it's sad because
this
their
is like vaguely romantic here.
Their
like,
relationship is changing.
yeah,
This was
they're-
obviously meant at the time when they were younger.
they're their only source of affection.
Yeah,
here,
when they
you know?
were
Like,
younger, this was totally brotherly, sisterly. But this,
Mhm.
you know, it's like, what does it become?
they're like,
but I
yeah.
like, I don't know, I kind of like it because it's like Caleb's only chance to be a boy is around her,
Mhm.
in a way.
Yeah.
And so it's like when he's with his father, he has to be forced to be a man. When he's
Right.
with his mother, he's forced to be a man.
When he's with the other kids, he has to take care of them.
Yeah, Thomason is the only one that treats him like a little kid.
I love Mercy.
Mhm.
She's such a little. This girl serves cunt. I will say that. She really does.
They told these 2 little children to just frickin' sing demon songs. Just like, alright, yay!
Yeah, like this has to be so much fun.
That I do what I like. So see, Black Phillip might be
Mhm.
teaching them the songs.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean,
Like-
the song about Black Phillip. That's
Yeah.
that's a pretty good bet, right?
Yeah.
It's like the guy in Mandy who's like, did you write this song? And it's about you?
You.
And she just laughs at him. And then this, like, she goes too far with this. And it's,
Yeah.
like, I love that. Like, why does she go so far?
Because she's sick of her. She's
No,
trying-
but to me, it's like, they're right next to the woods.
Yeah. that's
So
true.
it's like, there's like some runoff, I think.
Possibly,
That's
yeah.
making
the
her
energy.
go way too
Yeah.
far with this
Science-
bit.
Whoa.
That she, like, it's the
banging.
energy transference, maybe. Yeah. But part of it is, too, she's trying to frighten her silent. Like,
Yeah,
Well,
but she's already
This
frightened
is
her.
well, in a way, this is the first time she's
Yeah.
She's manipulating the power of the witch for her own
Yeah.
gain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is her first taste of the power that she wants.
The thing is the children are a lodestone around her neck.
Like, she's
she
beyond-
She cannot be a girl. She cannot be
Yeah,
anything because she's trapped by having to raise these children she didn't even give birth to. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's her. Yeah, that's her trying to escape the shackles of it. Like, she's.
But I definitely feel like, she's gone way beyond frightening her at that
Yeah.
point. Like, when she
She's
pins her
angry,
down,
yeah.
like, that, I think that's, like, some witch magic working in her
It's also
without
just
her
It's also
knowing
just
it.
rage if you look at it from that other perspective.
Right,
It's
right.
rage, like frustration. Like,
Yeah, going through the bifurcated,
Yeah.
like, perspective of, like...
And also, just imagine it's like, this is her life. She's gonna raise other people's children until
Mhm.
she's told to marry some random man and then raise his children, and then, it's like this never-ending cycle. Like,
And
when
then-
will she be free?
And then, I don't know if it's this... No, it's not. This is still dinner, but... Then she hears them saying, oh, we're gonna, like, send her to another farm to fucking work for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
She's just property.
okay, yeah.
And the thing is, I know, like, we're, like, looking at it from our model morals of, like, they're bad people.
Well, that's
but I kind of feel like-
utilitarian, yeah.
I kind of like, no, this is what this was. This was society, and it's like, that's the thing. In almost a way, Thomason is our modern viewpoint. Like, she's chafing against this lifestyle. She hates it.
I mean, those are...
The way we would hate it, but
and those people
her,
existed then, too. That's
Yeah,
why
of
we
course.
are the way we are now, is,
Yeah.
like, there were people who were like, this is wrong.
who hated it. But
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why.
But she becomes our avatar in that way.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
identify with Thomason, and we kind of, like, root for her at the end, because it's like, okay, yeah, bro, like, this sucks. Like,
This is like
this
one of the
is
all
fun.
time good for her endings.
like,
Yes, really good for her.
like people try to, like, Midsommar doesn't make me feel good for her. Like, you know what I mean? It makes me feel like, oh, well, she's in a cult now. Like, but
There's a hint of good for her, because, like, fuck those people. But, like, also she just became
not
the queen
really.
of a fascist pagan.
like, I'm good. She's part of a white supremacist cult. I kind of just feel like it's sort of like, I mean, I guess, yeah, woo, you get to see your abusive ex get burned alive. That's really fun. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's not the same to me. To me, this ending feels
it's
very
so,
much
yeah,
like
way
I feel
more-
satisfied for
way
her.
more,
I
yeah.
feel like, yay, go be free in the woods.
No, it's like a way more feminist ending for sure. Like
in my purview.
in
Like,
terms
I'm
of
sure some people
the
could
liberation.
Yeah, I'm sure some people can interpret it as horror, like she's in the woods being possessed with the devil. Like, for some people that would be terrible. Or if you think about this realistically, like, did she just wander off in the woods to die of exposure, like losing her mind?
Yeah.
You know, who knows? But right. I'm, from my perspective, looking at it the other way. I'm like, good for her.
No, yeah, and I love movies that you can look at them like a bunch of different ways and get something different out of it each different way
We're
you
gonna
watch
feel
it.
really stupid in 20 years when Bobby Eggers releases The Witch 2, and we find out that Thomason
Was
went
evil
on to become the president of the United States.
Oh no!
She bewitched George Washington.
Oh no!
And she's secretly controlling America.
Oh,
Oh
no!
my God. Now I just want to like come up with insane witch sequels. Like, what did she go on to do with her power after this?
Steal babies in the woods.
Yeah, man, make baby jelly.
Maybe this is New England. So she probably...
New England is just a
probably-
general regional area. It's not a specific state.
I get it, but the most important thing to the timeline
Yeah.
of the New England people is Tom Brady. So she must have secured the
Apparently.
timeline.
She got the time right.
She
Yeah.
secured the timeline for his birth
Oh, perfectly.
so that they can have success in football.
This is another interesting thing is, I don't know if this, because what I read was, for the most part, they shot this using
Natural
available and natural light. This looks, I mean, maybe that's moonlight.
They 100%
Backlit this.
did not use natural light with this.
No.
Okay, yeah.
There's a moon,
Yeah.
a moonlight. There's
Yeah.
Yeah.
the moon balloon.
Yeah.
doing
But
it.
yeah, for most of the movie,
But a lot of the movies natural
Yes.
lighting.
Yes.
This
This is like
this could be
candles.
natural.
This is lit with candles.
This could be natural.
It could be
could
both.
not be.
They
Yeah.
also
Uh.
remember, even with natural light, if they're using reflectors and things that enhance it, that would help, build.
I
up
also
the-
don't know if these interiors are on location or if they're ever on a set.
That's a good question. I don't know.
They might be on a set. I wouldn't want to do it in the middle of the fucking,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do any more than I had to
in the middle of the woods.
in the middle of the fucking woods with the creepy woods nearby.
No, baby, you want to go in them creepy woods.
Bobby's like, let's toast some marshmallows, bitch. Let's go.
I love that shot. Like
I've been in the woods and
one of-
I've never felt. And I don't know. All my experiences with woods were never creepy until this one time. I went into these patch of forest down here. It was like somewhere along like the Bird Road or I don't know. Are those patches of forest that people go and drive ATVs through? But like I went into one once and I didn't even go far, but it was like super foggy in there. And I swear, you really do. When you walk into it and the stillness overtakes you, and you're kind of looking around and you're like, you don't know where you are. Like you're like, oh shit, this is creepy as hell. Okay, bye, I'm leaving, and then I walk right back out.
I love that line just a second ago. That he's never taken a child from us before.
Mm-hmm.
I like that's a blessing. Like
Yeah.
the fact that they've only had one child stolen from them is like, who might earn such
Yeah.
grace? Like those were the times,
Yeah.
Like it's such a great.
Well,
There's nothing here. There's not hither.
have you ever had any encounters with any supernatural witches there?
I have not personally. Well, not supernatural. Not that I personally witnessed, but I did go to seminary with quite a few witches. So who knows what they were doing in their cauldrons at night.
There was one day that me and my cousin Dexter, at one point we were taking the same, I think it was an astronomy class, and we had like a test like super early in the morning, and so we were like, okay, we'll meet up at 5 a.m. at Denny's, and we'll study before our test at like 9 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying to study at this Denny's, and the waitress, who, for the purposes of this story, I will say had a Romani vibe,
Okay. Yeah.
right? She got so angry with us for some reason
Fuck.
that she was like muttering things under her breath when she was serving us food. And I was joking with Dexter that like, oh no, this test is fucked. We're getting cursed right now.
Oh no.
Yeah. But then we passed the test. So.
So,
But for those few hours, we were.
so see,
We were
that's another interesting detail there. The baby, when they took the baby away, baby wasn't baptized.
Mm-hmm.
So
they think
is
she's
it like
in hell.
the witch sensed that? Does the witch need an unbaptized baby? If the witch is real, and the witch works for the devil, a baptized child would have protection.
Right.
A
And
witch
so
can smell an
How
unbaptized baby
How long has it been
at 100 yards.
since she has had the chance
And
to
she
get an
doesn't.
unbaptized
She doesn't
baby?
really. I mean, I don't know, because Caleb was baptized. She kind of has to lure him in, though.
She lures him in, and what she does is she corrupts him. So the baby is taken and used as sacrifice. Caleb and Thomason are corrupted, and also the children are somewhat corrupted, but then they're mostly, you know what I mean? But it's corrupted.
I like the thing with the children is like you're never really sure if they are like legitimately corrupted or if they're just like
Teasing at
being
it.
like being kids like ah.
I've heard that modern day nurses secretly baptize babies.
Secretly
Yeah. Like in like hospitals and shit.
Yeah.
in secret
There's like
from
really religiously zealot nurses.
But if you're not
And
ordained,
if they
how can
know,
you baptize
no, you just
anyone?
sprinkle a little holy water
But
on a
you're
baby, do
supposed
the
to
sign of the
have-
cross.
But the point
Bada
is,
bing, bada boom, Jewish baby baptized.
you're supposed to have the
Boom.
ordination.
I just told you the recipe.
Uh-huh.
Sign of the cross,
That's-
water,
that's
holy
disrespectful.
water,
well
Jewish baby baptized. sent from the
It might.
devil.
Yeah, I mean, if it is the nurses, then
I believe it
I
because
mean, I don't
I'm
know.
gonna be
Maybe if
real
they're.
with you, some nurses are special.
They think they're doing a little extra protection,
Yeah, I feel like
free insurance.
I feel like a chaplain would step in at some point and be like, no.
But they do it in secret.
Yeah, right. No.
How can you know?
It's like an evangelical thing to do. Like we're winning those babies for Jesus in that moment. Those babies think that they're living a life of, Jewish perseverance. Haha, you've been stolen.
Mm-hmm.
For Christ our Lord.
But Jesus was Jewish. What the fuck?
What if Jesus was a witch? Yeah.
There's that's a
Jesus cast
worthwhile theory, to be honest. Like, that's a possibility.
It's a disgusting.
Like, how they had all those movies that were like, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, where it's like taking a historical figure and like their versus it. We do the
Jesus
historical
Christ.
figure is the thing, okay? Jesus the witch.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's what Passion 2
I hope
should
that
be.
if you decide to make that movie, you have protection because
Oh, I'm gonna need supernatural.
you're gonna need security because
I'm gonna have to secure a deal with Satan for that one.
This
baby.
is just reminding me that, like, I'm, like, secretly, or not so secretly now, really fucking hyped for Passion 2.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's gonna be fucking awesome.
Isn't it gonna be about like the 3 days before the resurrection?
Well,
Or,
the
No.
things I've heard that, I don't know if
heaven
that's
and hell.
it, but like Mel Gibson has said, like, it's gonna be like a fucking acid trip, and I'm like, let's fucking go.
It's Jesus in heaven. In heaven.
Right, well, I mean, think
Hell.
about the supernatural elements
Jesus
in the
Didn't go to
first one.
hell.
My mom taught me that when Jesus
was in.
was crucified, he died and he had to go to fucking hell. Alright? So that he could bring all the fucking souls
That's not the Catholic tenet.
and fucking
I don't.
bring them to heaven.
Isn't that the plot of Last
And then
Temptation
go
of
back.
Christ?
My mom believes in the Last Temptation of Christ.
I guess that's like what it is.
Okay.
he comes
In
off
order
the
to
cross
go to
and goes
heaven,
to
you gotta
hell.
go through hell.
I feel like he did getting crucified.
Yeah, but that's just
Why
your
would
hell.
he need extra hell?
He's gotta go
that
to
was
see
his
Satan.
hell.
He goes to hell, he gives the finger to Satan. Satan's like, oh, get off my lawn! And then Jesus rides away on a motorcycle.
I know, like, he was led into the wilderness.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is
That's
also
before.
symbolically. Yeah, that's before he was crucified.
That's
obviously.
before. When he's
But I
gone
don't know
mad with...
He was tempted.
because he was tempted by the devil.
Satan,
I don't know
yeah.
if that is like symbolically hell or something.
Let's do that prequel movie, The
But,
Passion of the Christ.
The Garden of Gethsemane.
That is just 90 minutes.
That would be
of
a good
Jesus
acid trip in the
tempted.
Garden of Gethsemane. Yeah. It
Jesus
Well,
was
that's what I'm saying.
tempted.
Like, think about there's like that weird pale dude in the first movie who's like always in the background and
Yeah.
shit. And, like, I'm just imagining that extrapolated exponentially,
I'm gonna tell
and
you
like
a secret.
I think it's gonna be
I'm
awesome.
gonna tell you a secret. I've never watched Passion of the Christ.
What?
Really?
No.
I mean, that's not a movie that I'd
At
be
the
like,
time, I was
how
like,
could you not have seen
Do
that?
I want to
Yo.
watch Jesus get tortured
Nah,
for 2
yeah.
hours?
Yo, I saw that shit in theaters, bro.
I saw it in theaters, too.
Imagine you
I-
and your Cuban Catholic God.
Yo, you know
like,
how hype that was, bro. I'm like,
bet.
I want to watch Jesus get fucked up right now.
Wow.
It just got passed as the all-time rated R box office.
Yeah.
By Deadpool.
By
Wolverine.
Deadpool and Wolverine, that's what it was.
Yes.
Fuck Jesus, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. My Lord and Savior.
My Lord and
Deadpool.
Savior, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Marvel Jesus. Deadpool.
Oh, is that why he was saying he called
Yes.
himself Marvel Jesus?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
That's why he was calling himself Marvel Jesus. That's why Deadpool is Marvel Jesus.
Oh my
hilarious.
god.
He's been coming for this record.
The layers!
He's been coming for this record.
The layers!
It's a meta
It's
joke.
It's
genius.
hilarious. This scene, man, if I saw The Witch for the first time when I was like 12 years old, this would have been like my sexual awakening. This scene of him making out with... Apparently he was like really nervous about this.
Of course, he's
Like,
a
of course, yeah.
child!
He had like never really kissed anybody.
But-
yeah,
before.
if you were 12,
Okay,
this is cool, but
but-
as an adult watching this was creepy.
I would be more
In
more
the
weirded
90s
out if I was the lady. Like,
In the 90s, every fifth kid got to kiss an adult.
I know. and
Come on.
When you look back on it, you're like, that's weird.
there's a lot of... Yeah.
That's really weird that we were doing that. Like, I think we should not do that.
She's like so hot too. Oh my god.
Yeah, she's a hot witch.
And she's in that corset. Oh,
Mhm.
good lord.
Pushing those titties up.
Good lord.
And it's so.
So we're not even there yet. Just
love-
like, don't think you're ahead of us.
I just love that.
We're
like,
just waiting for
Robert
it.
kind of goes there. Like this
We
is a
need to
very
savor this.
taboo subject, you know. Like, but it's like, yeah, he goes there, and this is part of his exploration with Caleb's character. He's obviously going through puberty. He's starting to go through it, and he's starting to experience it. So, like, you know, is this a vision he's seeing in the woods of the kind of woman that he would want to see? You know, if you're looking at it from the realism perspective, or does she present herself as like, what is he tempted by? You know.
I've always kind of seen it as like she's glamoring him.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Well,
With this.
I like to imagine it
But
from...
he's also so afraid. It's like he knows.
He like his face
Yeah.
does not show pleasure.
No.
He's terrified.
Well,
But he's
But
also,
also,
like, enthralled. Yeah.
keeps walking forward like, ooh, maybe
I-
she'll kiss me.
I
don't know.
like to imagine it from like a 90s movie perspective where this is literally the girl of his dreams
Right.
in real life.
Yeah.
And that's why he's like freaked
Maybe
out.
freaked
One of those
out, yeah.
scenes
He's like,
yeah,
I dreamt
that.
of her
Yeah.
and here she is. Holy shit.
The music in this is so
Oh, I
perfect.
love that the scream, the
And
wailing
the old
vocals.
hands.
Yeah,
Oh
the
my
old
god.
hands.
Can you imagine an old hand? Oh my god, an old lady's
Ageism.
hand. The scariest thing in the world.
Ageism.
Holy shit.
I still laugh sometimes about people claiming ageism about The Shining with the rotting body of the... She's rotting! That's not age, that's death!
I can't. Yeah.
Like, the movie Old is one thing, but that's
It's
still...
also super interesting how, whether it's like by luck of the draw, the witch purposely, the idea that every time Thomason's alone with one of their other children, they disappear. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
kind of like, it's setting
That's a
her
bad
up.
look.
Yeah.
It's setting her up for the destruction. You know what I mean? And every time they come back, they're gone or they're fucked up. And it's like setting her up. Like, and so it's like, is that on purpose? Is that the design of the devil? You know,
Right,
to
right.
isolate her even further from her
Yeah.
family.
That's how he does it, man. He fucking
It's-
separates you out.
It's almost like the devil's just pranking her.
Yeah.
Just like, bitch, I'm gonna get you, and you're gonna see it's gonna be
The devil on the practical joker.
I got a
And
12-step process.
Also, what's really interesting is, I kind of almost, like, some of my exploration of this character is, I kind of feel like part of the reason why her mother is sort of turning her into an antagonist
Mhm.
is that she's beginning to experience a form of envy. I know that sounds fucked up,
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
I'd be like the envy
I see
of
that.
another woman
Mhm.
starting to become part of this family unit.
Mhm.
She's getting older, she's developing, and it's like there's this sort of like
She's
almost
young, she's
imperceptible threat that she's feeling from her,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. And that's, I mean, she accuses her of, like, slutting it up with her brother and probably was worried that she was gonna, like, steal her husband, too,
And
you know?
in this time period, like, especially, like, the, you know, incestuous relationship, especially in an
Not
isolated
super
area,
uncommon.
not an uncommon idea and not an uncommon threat. And one of the reasons why they, like, sent daughters away to get married
yeah.
as soon as they were, like, of age, 15, 16, 17, you know what I mean? Like, in that time period, they were like,
Well,
okay.
Go find some guys your age and stay away
Yeah.
from...
Or just, you know, have them get married off.
Mhm.
Let's go outside and have an argument. So the
Where
kids
no
don't
one can hear it.
Everyone. That's also what I kind of love. Is like it's like there's no privacy.
There's none. Yeah, that's...
It's like everyone will hear everything.
You know, Ray, I guess it's okay for me to say his name, was telling me that when he lived in Cuba, that's how it was with his family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had no privacy, and so now he, like, is very protective of his privacy.
Mhm.
That's why he's, like, spent so much time by himself,
Mhm.
you know, usually painting, but,
It's
like...
it's difficult. I mean, I'll say it as someone who shared a bedroom for like basically my
Mm.
entire teenage life. It's hard. It was hard. Like going to college was like the first time I had like the freedom to be alone, like
Mhm.
in my room. And like
Yeah.
and like it was just it's hard, and then but you accept it because you don't know what else to do. Like you don't have a choice. Like
Yeah.
you don't have the means to be outside of that. Like,
As someone who has, lived with my own space for most of my life, the times when I've had to be forced to live with someone else in a space, I've struggled with it because of spending so much time living in. I have this room, and this is where I live, and I can, you know, if I really want. It's still like, I mean, my mom kind of like takes over the whole rest of the house, and this is like all I have. But it's still like I have my own space, and like, you know, when I had to live with my ex, or, you know, the 1 year that I was living at UCF in the dorms with a roommate who like slept in the same room. There was 2 to a room. I was like, I got so many complaints about like clothes on the floor.
Up because like the idea he comes back naked, like the implication that she like sexually assaulted him, like, it's like, so dark, you know. Then again, if you want to look at it from the realism perspective, he got hypothermia in the woods because it's cold, and when you start to feel hypothermia,
you peel off your clothes.
You take your clothes off because your organs start to heat because your body's trying to compensate, and so you start to think, I'm hot, and you start taking your clothes off.
Oh, right. Or so, he was like, my dream girl, yeet off my clothes.
He was hallucinating.
Let's go, baby! Game on.
He just had passionate sex with a fungus.
But it's true though, like really,
for a couple hours.
But when you're looking at it from either perspective, it's so interesting how you can find scientific sort of what we call rational explanations for all of their
those are placed
behaviors.
Those are placed intentionally.
Yeah.
You know, the rotting corn, all that stuff is like meant. They took the scientific reasons that are posited to have actually caused this stuff in those days,
bleed them,
and put them all in little spots in the movie. And that's why this is to me this is on my top 50 horror movies. This is number 1 because I can watch it over and over and over. It's so good. It's so immersive.
I think for a lot of people,
the research that they did, here he is chopping wood again, because that's all he knows how to do.
I think for a lot of people, it's like, it's hard because it's slow.
It is.
When you watch it the first time and you don't know where it's going. But I think it's kind of one of those movies where, like, if you watch it the first time and you didn't like it,
you should watch it
again, because it goes a lot faster on the second watch, and you start to realize like how quickly things start to deteriorate. Like almost from the beginning, the minute they get here, it's like things are not going well for them.
His wood chopping is basically his only therapy.
Yeah.
This is his only outlet to let out his aggression that is not killing his family.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Like, this is all he has.
Yep.
He has no other tools for mental health.
Nope.
Right.
And the mother is literally grieving and has nothing else. And that's
and
why
the
mother has literally given up raising her other children because she lost her baby. Yeah. That's why Thomason is also under pressure.
Yeah, right.
Because she's like, I don't even want to fucking deal with these kids anymore. Fuck it. Like
you hear that the Stephen the therapy aspect, you hear it in the music.
Yeah.
That like very jarring, building tension music. And
it's also like it's an interesting thing because it's like, oh, she's saying you can't do other things, like you can't feed us, but the wood chopping is like, he's like, at least I can keep them warm. At least I can keep a fire going so that they have, you know.
Yeah, what bitch? I turned it to blood.
Black Phillip is the greatest goat. He's
the goat.
I knew that he's a little shithead goat. You could just see it in his performance. Like, that's a shithead goat. I know they were struggling
That's
with
why
it's
such a good performance.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not fake.
Because they're capturing...
Like, all the best actors are the most difficult.
The a-hole magic.
Perhaps Black Phillip was truly possessed.
Well, that's not true, though. That's not true. It's just a myth.
What?
That all the best actors are a-holes.
That's true.
Yeah.
No. But this goat is an asshole. I'm not talking about all other actors. I'm talking about this particular goat.
Sure.
He's a dick. And I love him. That's the best part, is I feel like I would have both hated and loved him. I'd be like, Black Phillip.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I don't even know if someone had a trained black goat or if they were just like, this goat is so perfect.
It's
that
photogenic.
we will deal with him.
Yeah.
However this turns out.
And you almost wonder, like, the fact that he was temperamental, if Robert Eggers was like, yeah, that'll do fine.
There's something about the architecture with, like, the the
Mhm.
walls like leaning in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That gives
Claustrophobia.
Yeah, that
Look at all
extra
these. What are
sense of-
these like? Oh, there's
Those
like
are
red
drying.
corn.
That's drying corn.
corn.
So like when you're, especially like when you're a farm dependent agriculture, like agricultural family, that like you depend on this agriculture. You're constantly storing food, preserving food, drying food, getting it ready, because it's like you do not know when you will have food again, and
Right.
you have to depend on stores, and they're not even showing like. They're struggling because like if they really had enough, they back in the day to keep things cool, they would literally build the cellars. They would build underground structures, but even if they couldn't build it under the house, they would build it like this next to it. They would bury the food to keep it cool.
This is interesting too. I like this little part here where she's like, "Fuck, I want to go back to England."
So they see, and that's the thing. They're
showing the homesickness
yeah,
that
and it's
was
implying
probably
that
very real for
But
these
what's
people.
also interesting is like they are not people that have lived here their whole lives.
Right. They
So
moved.
she actually took a boat to escape what they deemed persecution of the
yeah.
Puritans to here.
And
And
then,
that's yeah.
And then all the things she's missing out on. Like she
Yeah.
remembers, like, I'm not eating bread.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's gone
There's
from
no
having a
baker
life where
here.
exactly. She's gone from having a life where she had comforts to losing all of that. And that is something that totally like the idea of,
She's so good in this too, man.
everyone's really good.
They're all incredible.
And this role, it seemed like, got her a lot of parts,
Yeah.
too.
Mm-hmm.
What I
They
also
really
really
broke her
love
out.
is Robert's, aside from like Anya, because Anya's just sort of really ethereal looking,
Mm-hmm.
but all the other actors, they
look
design
like
them like they could live in this period.
The people of the
yeah,
time.
like
yeah.
and
They
so
do.
it's but Anya's like
And that's not always true. Like you see a
stands
lot of
out,
people
yeah.
like they have very modern features.
Yeah.
Like they don't
Especially
fit.
when they're like doing a period movie and the person has obvious like work done on their face, like
Right.
perfect veneers or
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
lip injections, and it's like, I don't think
No.
they had those in
No,
1893.
I want to see that period movie.
But I
Everyone
think
has
it's also
fake breasts and liposuction lips and shit, and just like, ooh.
The Real Housewives of Salem, Massachusetts.
It's funny though, like
Let's kill the
you look back even at like 1950s America, people looked different. I think it has something to do with like
Styling.
and
Also hell.
and also like more intermingling of races in like relationships. I
Yes.
feel like
No,
has
yes,
to do, a lot to do
definitely.
with it.
But like why people like to look at people from like the 50s and they look so much older. It was the makeup and the styling.
Yeah.
Definitively, it was the way they dressed. It was
Right.
the way they did their hair,
And
their
they
makeup.
didn't-
Then it was also
Much more
health
conservative.
issues.
And
They
Yeah.
looked different because their
And-
skin wasn't as good in this
Right.
time period, or they had health problems. They
And
had
the TikTok
you know,
12-year-olds will tell you it's because they did not have skincare,
They didn't
madame.
have drunk. They didn't have drunk elephants,
They didn't
so
have
they were like
Redcon.
rude. Okay. Whoa.
Oh, this scene. Oh my god, he's
He's great.
so good.
I'm
It
glad
was-
that they.
It was a few times I watched this before I realized what comes out of his mouth is an apple. And it's like, oh, that's like
Yeah.
definitely witched. Like, that's a clear sign.
It's so fairy tale too.
Yeah, oh yeah. Big time.
And it's so fucked up that it took me a second, the first time we saw him, but it took me till this scene to realize that the stuff on his mouth is like she bit him. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's like teeth marks on his lips. Like
Oh,
when
wow.
she kissed him, she bit him.
Well, because she, like,
Yeah, she grabbed him.
she
It's so
smashed his face into her.
Yeah, it's so messed up.
This might be the thing that makes me cringe the most in this whole movie is when he sticks this thing
Ugh.
in his mouth to pry it open.
Ugh, yeah.
And you hear the...
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that this is not the point,
yeah.
but like, if you were gonna do a Witch 2, right, it would have to be in like a slightly bigger community, so that you can get like a slightly bigger body count, right?
Yeah,
So
I mean,
instead
that
of
would
like
be...
a few dead kids and a few
You know
dead
what's also
babies,
interesting
you gotta like
is that there
get it going.
is a fruit that looks kind of like an apple, but it's actually poisonous. So that could be another sort of thing. that can be playing here, where he spit out the like this. He thought it was food because he was alone, he was hungry, and then he accidentally ate something.
So that's like sort of a hallucinatory, expressionist
possibly
representation of like he just ate a poison fruit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it's really these little kids. That
It is the adults like
drive her
nothing.
to the devil.
Yeah.
They're
The
the ones
adults,
who
I
decide.
think by any interpretation, the adults are just literally confused by what's going on.
Yeah.
And maybe Thomason too, like, at least for most of the movie, she seems to be, I mean, she could be just, like, manipulating or hallucinating, but she seems to also be like, what the fuck is going on? I don't, at this, why are you yelling at me? The kids are possessed by demons, but you're yelling at me for some reason. Evil wretched!
Damn, they're the most like you know, I don't often want kids to die in movies,
I know, right?
but
they're
they're such
little
annoying
shits.
siblings.
They're
The
so-
fact
yeah.
that they say Thomason stopped our prayer,
Yeah.
and they just believe them.
Yeah. But and that's also
And they're like,
interesting.
what did I see in my
Is it-
house?
Is it happening, or is it just they want to torment her, like, you know?
Right, exactly. Like, they're such little shits that
you
I
can't-
kind of
you-
tend to lean
you-
towards they're just tormenting her.
Yeah. And that's almost another way that she is corrupted, because she's like, I can't take these kids. The rage of it, you know?
Is this what you're talking about, like the dried blood
A cat, a
stuff
crow.
around
No,
his...
here, the two little, the marks on his mouth, on his
Yeah.
lips. Yeah, that's scabbing. It's like she bit him.
Oh, man. I never noticed that before.
Yeah.
See, every time, 32 times, and I still...
So one interpretation of this could be these two little kids see him getting all this attention.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, for
right.
Sure.
Now they're trying to get
For
attention.
sure.
They want,
too,
yeah.
These kids, no,
so
these
that they
kids.
can be the center of
I
attention.
actually, what's so interesting is I believe that Black Phillip is talking to these kids. If you're looking at it from the supernatural element, I believe Black Phillip's talking to these kids, but I don't really believe that they're getting like affected here. I believe that they are performing.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
no. How about this? How about they're the ones corrupting Black Phillip?
Oh, shit.
They're the evil ones.
They're the evil ones.
Yeah, they make Black Phillip evil and her.
I love this, too, like...
And it's so sad because it's like his greatest desire is to be with God, and like this is what his father has taught him. So it's like he's so pious because it's like
But again, looking at it from a supernatural perspective, they kind of go through this conversation after it happens. This could be like him literally ascending to heaven.
yeah.
Or, like she says, the devil speaks scripture too.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. Because he's dead now, so like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? But he could be in heaven. He
Yeah.
could have just ascended.
He could have.
Or it could have just been the devil
Or it
wagging
could have
his
been-
tongue in my mouth.
Or could have been when she cursed him, he just hallucinates his way into death.
Right, yeah.
He's delirious and
Mm-hmm.
his desire so hardly.
Or the poisonous fruit just fucking finally worked.
Or is he, when he's seeing God, is he actually seeing Satan?
Yeah, right.
Is
Is
he
it
saying,
just a trick, you
Take
know?
me to Satan. Yeah.
Yeah. He looks...
And it's interesting
Dead.
too how like
He looks dead.
the devil's taking her favorite children, because you can tell that Caleb is like her favorite child. Her baby's her favorite child. Like it won't take the other ones.
Don't take these loud ones away.
Yeah. Take these. What the fuck?
Take the other ones.
This part.
Girl, you're fucked.
This is like heartbreaking and like horrifying at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Where she like screams at her. Not this. Right here. Like, damn! She just watched her brother die.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, you did this! Fuck you! Get away from me! But
And
she's
and if you look
so
at
racked with trauma.
the isolationism is like destroying the family. Like
Mhm.
all this.
He goes out to comfort her and then to tell her, oh, by the way, I believe that you're the witch.
It's
Yeah,
kind
when you
of
have like the whole mind map of it,
kind
it's
of
like
interesting
so.
because like I feel like more than even the mother, I feel like he actually loves all his children.
Mm-hmm.
Like in that he loves all of them, and like I don't know, it's
He's just so brain poisoned by
Yeah.
Puritan insanity
Yeah.
that he just like legitimately believes she's a fucking witch.
Yeah.
And Satan is casting his
Mhm.
plans over this family.
Well, it's also the thing too that
Their belief system.
she's the only one with the
Mhm.
blonde hair that immediately that
Mhm.
that marks her as like, oh, is this why she's always been different from us in
Also,
that
you
way?
have to,
Is it because of
like,
the devil?
They also,
You know?
at this time period, they believed in the literal devil. Like,
Mhm.
so
Oh,
when
yeah.
someone said, I saw the devil, they could believe that. They could believe someone saw the devil
Mhm.
because they believed that he walked among them.
He like won't even listen to her. What did you see? Like,
Yeah.
seriously, you saw the children say Thomason stopped our prayer. That's all you saw.
Those kids never learn to lie. So the babies have to be telling the truth.
Yeah, right.
No one taught them.
Oh, you want me to speak truth, huh? Ooh. And he thinks it's the devil. She starts telling
Yeah.
him nothing but true things.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Yeah.
that's the devil. The devil's wagging your tongue. Like, it's literally like what happens today. Like, that's
Yeah.
that's the devil. That's
Yeah.
what the devil, what that is. It's just the truth. No, it's definitely the devil.
And see, this is, when you're looking at it sort of like from the feminist analysis, it's like she, as a daughter, has always been dutiful. She's never spoken against him.
Mhm.
And the minute she starts doing that, she is a witch. She's a bitch. She's not just a witch. She's a bitch. She is now, like,
Throws her to the ground.
and this is it. It's like when she asserts her independence, that becomes a sign of the devil.
Maybe just a woman talking back in and of itself is a sign of the devil.
And now
fact that
she
a
starts.
woman is talking
Now
about
she
it.
starts playing on his
Yeah.
religious fervor, and now he starts believing what she says.
Mm-hmm. It is they from my side.
Lies.
And so interesting. Like, does she eventually Black Phillip, he becomes Satan in her eyes, and so it's like, she's telling him the truth. Like, if this is real and there's a devil, the devil is in Black Phillip, and he's there, and that goat that you bought to take to this farm,
He's cursed us all.
They're always fucking whispering with that goat, man.
Always, and the goat seems real chill around them.
They sing songs about it that they clearly couldn't have written.
It's also such an interesting thing how it's like they don't pay attention to their children so much that like they're not listening to anything they say. So like they're singing about Black Phillip,
right?
And they're just like, ugh, these dumb kids, and shut them up.
Shut up.
Is this the goat of cinematic goats?
Yes.
Is he the goat of goats?
The goat of goats.
I'm pretty sure
Like
he's the
the
goat
only
of
other
goats.
goats I can think of were like animated goats.
Yeah.
And like Disney stuff.
Even like horror, like The Nun 2 had that goat thing.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
But it's not. It was like a
Black
CG
Phillip is
monster. But this is like a goat.
Black Phillip's a celebrity. He's a little celebrity goat. I wonder what he's doing right now.
I don't think he ever worked again because he was so difficult.
But I hope he's on a farm somewhere.
Oh,
enjoying
yeah,
his life. Like, I hope he's alright.
Totally.
He's living delicious.
He's retired.
What's also so funny too is if you take this out of context of this movie, and you heard someone ask, "Did you make an unholy bond with a goat?" You'd laugh your ass off.
Right.
Like, you're a freaking idiot. Like, what are
That's
you
the
talking
other thing about this movie
It's
that I
not
think turned off some people as
Yeah.
well. It's very elevated, but
Yeah.
it's also like there's parts of it that are like kind of goofy.
Yeah, and that's the point.
But I think it would have helped if there's that thing at the end that says this is based on literally
Yeah.
like diaries and court records of this time. This is shit that actually people
Yeah.
believed happened.
But I also too think, like, I think it's difficult for people. They can't find this scary if they're not willing to immerse themselves in the story
Yeah.
as these characters. If you look at it from the outside, yeah, you're totally gonna like. Which was one of the reasons why I think.
Fetch the bill hook.
Yeah, like, that's messed up. It's one
I
of
just
those
recently
things-
learned what a bill hook is. It's like that machete thing, but it's like hooked at the end.
Yeah. And you use it
Like
for,
in
you
like
use
in
it for
Bay of
hay.
Blood.
Use
In
it
Bay
for
of
hay
Blood,
and stuff.
they
Yeah.
that was the murder weapon.
Yeah.
That's that great scene where she's
Yeah.
running away and he hooks her from
Yeah,
behind.
you use it to hook hay, to pick things up on the farm.
Yeah. Fetch the bill hook, wife.
Mm-hmm.
What sense? What are you talking about?
Yeah, and this is why I kind of feel like it's like the
Oh, I love this.
yeah.
The goat just like.
I feel like the kids are innocent, like in that they're just sort of playing and they.
Well, they're just being manipulated by this
Yeah.
fucking goat, man.
maybe
Possibly.
Maybe
Yeah,
and
right.
maybe they're just little children that are just, you know.
Okay. The
Does
Witch.
Father think I am?
Oh,
And see,
you. They don't say no.
The
Yeah,
Witch
they
2, right?
she says no.
Before the title card, right?
Yeah.
You just see fucking Black Phillip walking across a field. And you were following him, and then he goes and he mounts another
See,
goat.
and they don't answer
and he
her.
just starts fucking.
They don't answer her when she says, "Does he really speak to thee?" But they also don't say yes. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like the little kids could just be pawns in this entire story.
Oh yeah, totally.
Pawns in the family, pawns to the devil, pawns to Black Phillip. Just another way to sort of sow chaos
Yeah.
amongst everybody.
They are good at that.
Yeah. Especially since they're like twins, because they're so close. They're like so close together.
Is that what makes them more susceptible to Black Phillip? The fact that they're
Twins?
Mm.
They're twins, right?
Twins? Does they're magical?
I don't
Because
know.
they look like they're the
They
same
kinda
age.
look-
Magical
yeah,
in
I
that
mean,
way.
they do,
They
yeah.
seem twinish.
Yes, that would actually be an implication that, like, in terms of like superstition, they believed like, yeah, twins and like
Twins are evil.
twins.
Hold on, I just want to lay in my
Unnatural.
son's grave
Yeah,
for
right.
a while.
I mean, yeah.
That'll help me get through this.
There it is. This is like the angriest of his. Because this is after she says, "Thou can do nothing save chop wood." And now he's like, "Fuck you! I'll fucking chop all the fucking wood."
You definitely kind of see some sort of inspiration from The Shining with his sort of descent.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Like his kind of like his like.
I love this fucking like petitioning to God of like, I've clearly failed this family somehow. Just kill me. I'll eat dirt. I don't care.
Well,
In that incredible bassy voice of his.
this is the thing about humanity and Christianity that always I find so interesting and perplexing is that so many times we don't want the actual solution to our problems.
Mm-mm.
We just want to die and
Yeah.
it to be over.
Mm.
You know what I mean? He could be praying to God,
Dispose
about,
of me how
like,
thou wilt.
you know, save my family,
Mm-hmm.
Redeem
give
my
us
children.
crops, you know.
Yeah.
And instead he's just like, fuck it,
They cannot tame their natural evil.
I think
kill me.
sometimes life can be really overwhelming,
Mm.
and there's this idea that it will never end, and like life is both very long and very short, and so sometimes you get into a position where it's just sort of like everything would be easier if I just wasn't here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of it's a difficult thing, and you're right. It's like we get caught up in that. We can get very caught up in despair very easily,
Yeah.
and because of the difficulty of it, like it's like, yeah.
And this is way more difficult than anything we've ever experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's so weird from their worldview
Yeah.
to think of themselves as like we are following the path of God.
Mm-hmm.
But, like he said, we are still all sinners. And we
It's so interesting.
we are damned.
Yeah.
But we're walking this path of God.
It's so interesting how the worse things get for them, the more pious they are.
Well,
Because you have to be,
there's no
right?
atheist in a foxhole.
Yes.
The saying
Yeah,
always goes.
right.
You know. Because when you're completely...
Because they have to take control of their world somehow.
When you've lost total control over a situation,
Exactly.
all you have is to just pray
And
or
trust
beseech
that there's
someone,
some plan.
something that's going to help you because you have no other choice. You have nothing. You have nothing left. You have no control over whether you live or you die.
My one beef with Bobby Eggers in this movie, and the one thing that I think makes this movie not perfect.
The silver cup is back.
Oh, shit!
Well,
I never noticed that.
the one thing that makes this movie not perfect
Oh, that's the first thing she sees, and then she sees
is
him.
like,
Oh, man.
whoa.
See, as if the devil.
Wow.
And see, remember, she talked about that, like the things that she wants back. Her silver cup, her children. Ooh.
I wish this movie like showed someone like pissing or shitting.
Why?
That's the one
Why?
flaw.
Because everything is so everything is so immersed in reality.
You will always find.
I want the pee
if you
and the
are
poop.
watching a movie and it's doing everything it's supposed to do, you will find a nitpick that is so dumb.
We are inventing.
Why can't someone just be farting right now?
You know how, you know how there's the Bechdel test for
Okay,
women?
I'm gonna tell you.
The Steven
I have-
is someone pissing and shitting in the
I'm
movie
gonna.
test.
Hey, you know what?
Okay?
I have a movie
That's
for you.
almost no movie.
Excuse me.
Harold and Kumar,
excuse
they
me.
pee.
I have a Robert Eggers movie for you if you want farting. The
Lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
And
So
I do that.
fucking watch
And
the
see,
goddamn Lighthouse.
that's why that movie's better than this movie.
No.
Because he acknowledges human
Uh-huh.
bodily function. He probably read the reviews and saw
sure.
my complaints
Yes.
in
Sure.
other reviews.
Yeah,
And so he
totally.
put it in the Lighthouse.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, no.
I have a book for you. But that would be really good. Like a Bechdel test
No.
for piss and shit.
No, there's
No.
no
In movies.
test.
This is so, like, when you think this part, remember that Caleb was talking about the different animals that represent the witch. One of them was a raven, the goat, the wolf.
And they were talking about how the devil whispers,
Yeah.
and he's whispering. What's going on?
What's happening?
It was not
scary.
until very recently
If I was a kid, I
that
would shit my pants.
that I realized after she turns and everything, there's like a retching sound, right? Like, what the fuck was that? They don't show it.
The kids are dying, maybe they're choking. See, the raven comes.
Yeah,
and
she's
tests-
pecking her
yeah.
tit, man.
And
and the
it's
next
like-
day you see her with like the
And
bloody
it's
spot.
like the silver cup is like.
I never noticed the silver
The
cup.
silver
That's
cup
so
is almost like the
crazy.
beginning of the glamour. It's like the beginning
Yeah.
of this idea that her life is back to where she
Because
wanted
that's
it to
she
be.
looks at it and then
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, my kids are
And
back."
the lie is there, yeah.
Mm.
And the thing is, this could all be a dream. The dream of the crow. Maybe her tit is bleeding because she has a baby she hasn't been able to breastfeed. When you don't breastfeed,
Mm.
your milk ducts can swell and you can get infections because you're not purging.
You're supposed to.
So
do
so this could just, the realism could just be that she has a duct infection.
Ooh.
That doesn't have to be that a crow was pecking at her
Ugh.
tit. It's just that she's
Whatever it is.
she's not purging and she's losing her milk because her baby's dead.
This facial expression that he holds for like, I don't even know how long, when he sees what's happened, is so great. It's just so like dumbfounded.
Yeah.
He's just like
his
what?
face in this movie is also just so interesting. Like, this hair does something to his face that's so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like really, because he looks different in other movies. He doesn't look like this. This is
Yeah.
just a very specific look. It makes him look so long.
Yeah.
He looks like kind of like a painting. Like, he doesn't
He
look
looks-
real.
He, more than anyone else in the movie, looks like he belongs
here,
in this
yeah.
time period. And yes, that's She's the only one left.
Yep.
So what are you supposed to think?
Exactly. And so you sit there.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
That really
Whoa.
happened too. No.
No, don't say.
Feel
Yeah,
that?
bitch.
Feel that.
Gotcha, bitch.
I gotta kill.
I love it. Like, he because it kind of harkens back to his last big scene where he picks up the axe and he's like, oh, I'm gonna fight you, but then he's like, no, that's right, I asked God to kill me.
Kill me, yeah.
So, let's go, bitch. Wait, no, I asked for this. I love this fucking line. Corruption. Thou art my father. That's so
And that's sort
badass.
of interesting, like, does he embrace Satan at the end?
Right.
Corruption, thou art my father.
Uh-oh.
Like, this is
And
it.
then he falls into the giant pile of wood he's been constructing.
Yeah.
He's been building.
The sum
He's
of
been
all
building
of
his tomb.
Yeah, exactly. He's been
His
building his
lying
own
his
demise.
place.
The sum of all his effort.
Mm-hmm. It all came tumbling down on top of him.
He was really good at chopping wood.
Yeah.
He was, right? That was a lot of
These
fucking
women
wood.
need to be put in their place.
Oh, sure.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
Because look at
Look at
he's
that wood.
the goat of chopping wood, man.
That's like way too much wood, though.
That's
like,
enough
there's
wood.
no
No,
way.
actually, no, it's not.
Really?
That's
Yeah.
enough wood.
It's a lot of wood, but believe me, you know how much wood you have to chop? Because if you think about it, they're going through like 5 to 6, 7 logs a day. You're cooking
Well,
on
they're
a fire.
keeping
cooking on
the
a fire.
fire going all day.
It's all
you know.
day. You have to keep that fire going, especially if you're cooking. You cannot leave it to go out. If it goes cold, it's a problem. You will freeze.
That's why he followed the ABCs. Always be chopping. ABC.
Oh, so she is blonde too. I was thinking about
Yeah,
it.
no,
'cause,
she
like,
Whoa,
she is
she is blonde too.
Yeah.
So she's seeing a younger version of herself when she
Mhm.
sees
That's
her
another
growing up,
reason
you know?
why she is so
when
angry.
she's more pretty and
Yeah.
more wonderful and more Anya Taylor-Joy. You know?
More.
No, she just it's just the inevitabilities of this unfortunate society that pits women against each other.
Mhm.
You know, she's like, you're smeared of his sin, and that's the thing too. Is like, look, she is the devil because she's gone through puberty and she's a woman, becoming a woman now in their terms. You know what I mean?
That sluttish look.
Exactly.
Yes, and thy father next.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep. It's the text. The subtext rapidly becomes text at the end,
Mhm,
and it's like,
mhm.
she
Yeah.
looks at her as like,
That was, and like we were saying before, that was a real concern at the time.
Well, if you're Woody Allen's kids, it's a real concern. It's
Oh,
a present.
God.
It is actually a real concern for
oh
some people now
no.
Sorry, this is there.
too. That cut, and this is like blood pours out of it. And, on her face, on her perfect.
See,
like,
and now here's
unblemished face.
here she's
Let's
getting
see.
baptized in blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like everything that's happening is like her whole
And it's
family
the
turned
blood of the
against her.
mother that she's
So she's
baptized
left. So she's left with nothing, you know, except
Yeah. Except
whatever
Black
comes
Phillip.
next. Yeah.
Except to live delicious.
It's a form of sort of coming of age because
Oh yeah, absolutely.
she's getting away from her parents. She's getting away from the role of like caretaker, the young sibling. Like she's escaping all that, and
Mhm.
it's a painful journey, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny because it's like even with her not liking really living like this, she rages at the idea that they're gonna send her away.
Mhm.
Because like you're gonna send me away from the only thing I know, which is my family.
Mhm.
You like don't care about me anymore.
Well, and also
enough to keep me around.
the just seeing her as this object, like we can make money with her
Yeah.
if we send her away, you know. But yeah, I mean, definitely, I mean, the liberation of coming of age, the liberation of, you know, when you go off to college, just ridding yourself of all of it in a very extreme way that also she's kind of like forced into in a way, if you believe that she's not just.
But see how like it's so interesting like how something shifts in her like once she realizes that she's dead, like something completely shifts in her.
Yeah.
And you know she mourns that, but then it's like
She
now
takes,
I'm alone.
She
now
takes
I have
her dress
nothing.
off.
Yeah. Her apron off.
her.
Or does she take her?
I think no. She has like an
takes
under.
her full dress off. Oh, she's
She has a
wearing
shift.
Yeah,
underneath.
she's wearing her shift.
But she takes the dress off before she like falls asleep.
It's also kind
She's
of
like, why would I wear it now?
her dress kind of has, sometimes in some shots,
I'm just
has
staring.
a slight pinkish tone to it, like a light pink.
Yeah.
Which obviously he's like, they would maybe be able to dye it with like flowers, like light, but very lightly. But it's a very light thing. Like I kind of see it, the sort of like slightly pinkish tone to it, sort of like implying how like she's a girl, and then it's like she strips down out of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely, like, symbolism in itself of, like, liberation from everything.
From all the roles that she was in here
exactly,
and trapped.
Just peeling off this. And her shift still has, like, blood all over it.
But she has nothing else.
Right. She just gets, like a blanket to keep herself
And it's
in.
kind of interesting that the shots after that moment become so still.
Yeah.
And so like so painterly that you know it's almost like a painting.
A Renaissance
come
painting,
to life
yeah.
and just
there's like definitely like a Whistler's Mother vibe to this a little bit. Just her sitting in the middle of the.
You know, and as things were building before, the camera would like zoom in and move and bring that unease, but it's finally settled.
It gets so quiet too.
Yeah, it's like things get still.
The chaos like gives way to this like dead silence. Like dead
This is
silence.
also a way to illustrate how alone she now is.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, she doesn't even have her dysfunctional
as
family
isolated
anymore.
as they were before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is very like painterly.
They said the goat was annoying, but maybe they were annoying to the goat.
I mean, you know, they're trying to wrangle this fucking goat who's
He's supposed to eat and shit.
Goat's just trying to goat, and they're like, no.
They should have had the goat shit. That would be the way to for the realism.
To bring it in, yeah.
It's kind of interesting how
I haven't really noticed the blood still
their
all
farm,
over.
their barn looks very manger-like. Like in what we would imagine a manger to be, the nativity. Yeah. It's very manger-like, and there's some shots where the kids are in there with the goat that look very nativity-like, like the way that they're sitting. It's very much sort of a black nativity scene, like a you know, a dark, like
the way they're arranged in space.
Yeah, like a dark nativity.
Does thou understand my English tongue?
And see, it's like she made the decision to speak to Black Phillip, to have him, you know?
He's almost like testing her patience here. Like, he's not responding. Until she's allowed to leave. What canst thou do? That's also a very specific reference because that was something that was like, for a while was viewed.
Butter was
viewed
easy to get,
as, and then the church had to come out and say like, no, that's ridiculous, and it's mostly levied against poor people.
It's all I mean, like, it's also it's expensive to have a cow. It's expensive to milk a cow. It's expensive to.
Oh, this part, I love this with the goat foot and the human foot.
So Black Phillip being
badass.
played by Daniel Malick, who is extremely fine.
Yeah,
and
he is.
Woof, woof, woof. And every year I like to talk about how fine he is, and he always finds that tweet and likes it. It's funny. So Daniel Malick acknowledges how fine he is, and he would love to play Black Phillip again.
Well,
that
you
knows
can
that
tweet
that
it with
knows
podcast.
Yeah.
that knows that he has this like I don't know if it's
he's
like
beautiful.
a Semitic nose
He's beautiful.
but it's like very.
He's super beautiful.
And his little hand on her. And then, of course, The good for
the
her
rebirth.
ending. Yeah, man.
But it's so interesting because it's like, yeah, like if you look at it like the witch and the devil and Black Phillip has led her to this moment, like she has no other choice. It's like she sells her soul to the devil for what he can offer her, or she dies alone.
Yeah, like she's like
with nothing.
Well, that's the American entrepreneurial spirit. That's what
Pull yourself up by your
entrepreneurs do.
bootstrap, bitch.
You just gotta get on up, make a deal with the devil.
Alrighty then.
And supposedly I read somewhere the language that's spoken by the witches is like Enochian.
Which is like the language of the angels.
I think
Kind
so.
of.
Well, because Lucifer was an angel.
Yeah.
So that would make sense if, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was an occult language that was believed to have been given to John Dee and his colleague Edward Kelly in late 16th century England by the angels.
Whoa.
So.
Whoa, that sounds like...
Yeah, it sounds hardcore.
Sounds bad.
Sounds like they came up with a good story.
I saw a black metal band once, and their intro was this, like just the audio of this was so badass.
And that's sort of the thing, you know. It's like when you're like not looking at this as like God is good, and it's like if you're just looking at Lucifer like he's an angel, like a dark angel, you know, it's just another form.
A rebellious angel.
Exactly. Someone who just decided to, you know, live against the grain of God who could be an extremely vengeful person who asked things of people that were quite horrible and dark and difficult. Specifically because they displeased him. Not necessarily even because they were, you know, doing some, you know, it's just because he was tired of their shit.
Right, yeah.
Or he wanted their devotion.
Kill your son!
I want to see how good or devoted you are to me.
Yeah, right.
Kill your kid. I'm going to drown about like 80,000 people here because I don't like what they're doing anymore. I'm going to kill everybody.
My favorite part of the Abraham and the killing of Isaac is the fucking... It's just like at the very last second he's like, whoa, 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 whoa! Oh my god! You were really going to do it!
Inspired by many folktales, fairy tales, and written accounts of historical witchcraft, including journals, diaries, and court records. Much of the dialogue comes directly from these period sources. Part of me
kind of wishes that was at the beginning, so that people could have that. But I think it's very intentional to put it at the end.
And I'm gonna.
It's basically like that South Park episode about Scientologists where it puts at the bottom, this is what Scientologists actually believe.
Yep.
That's what that is. It's like, this is what people thought happened.
And if you're interested in another very scary, disturbing story that is also based on real historical records, you can watch The Devil's Bath on Shudder.
Oh, really?
That is based on the concept of suicide by proxy in early Germany.
Oh, wow.
It is dark. It's a lot slower than this movie, honestly, because it's more about this woman's descent into her mental health, descent into like mental illness.
Yeah.
But it's hard to watch, and it's dark, and it's good. It's really good, and it explores exactly this kind of stuff, like this idea of living in these time period was so difficult.
Yeah.
There was such a lack of being able to do certain things, and then God, this form of God that was taught to them, ruled their lives so heavily that they developed really dark, fucked up ways of thinking and trying to both appease God and also deal with their shit.
And that's directed by Severin Fiala and
Veronica
Franz,
yes.
who did Goodnight Mommy, which is a fucking amazing film that I definitely recommend people see that hasn't gotten a lot of play. They also directed The Lodge, which is a really fucking good movie too.
So if you're into historical horror, like real historical accurate horror like that.
The Lodge is another one that's all about like religious fervor too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a really good one about that.
An interesting bit of trivia for this movie. When Bobby Eggers originally wrote the script, he wrote it in 5 acts, with each act being from the perspective of a different family member. And his producers told him that he had to simplify it and make it more structured and simple.
That's probably a good note, but I would like to see that movie.
I would like to read the script that
I'd love to see
I don't know
that.
if I would want to watch the movie, but to read the original script would be really interesting.
To see what each of their
if he ever
perspectives
released
is.
it like next to the shooting script that they eventually went with.
At the same time, like, part of what really makes this movie work is not knowing what perspective you're in and feeling like you could be in someone's in one perspective or another at any given time.
I think also, I don't know, it's kind of sometimes when you're doing something where you're sort of wanting to imply or speak about an omnipotent presence, an ominous presence that you can't, to do things in a specific POV it kind of takes away from that, because there's something about being able to like think, is the thing watching them right now as they struggle? Is it like when they do a shot where they're far away? Is it to show the isolation, or is it to show that something's watching them in the woods? Is it like that kind of thing? And so when you have the perspective where it's not just directly in someone's POV, you get more of the sense of like there's something ominous all around them in that way.
Sure.
Okay, to end this commentary track, I need to complain about this bit of trivia in the trivia section of IMDb, which is always suspect. But on an interview that Anya Taylor-Joy gave to Vogue magazine on September 17, 2021.
Oh, good.
So this is well sourced.
Yeah.
She revealed some items she carries inside her purse.
Yeah.
One of them was a tarot deck of cards. She told that she likes to read the tarot to people on parties or in reunions with her friends.
Why is that trivia for the
Tarot cards are associated with witchcraft. Thus, Anya Taylor-Joy's a real witch. Don't you
Apparently
get it?
she's a real witch.
I saw that too, and it has a lot of downvotes.
Yeah,
because it's fucking stupid. What?
It was like Anya Taylor-Joy also said she owns a broom. Watch out, motherfucker. She sweeps.
Yeah, the Devil's Back is super fucked up because there's the thing that was suicide by proxy, and was that people believed that if you committed suicide, you'd go to hell, right? So you were damned. You could not kill yourself, but so they would kill someone else, mostly children, so that they would be executed. And it was such a problem.
Wow.
They had to deal with it because this happened way more than you think. They wanted to die, but they were told God would damn them, so they killed a child. And they believed that killing a child meant the child would go to heaven because they were innocent. So they would be all right.
That's why they didn't kill adults, because they might not.
Because they might not, exactly. Children.
Man.
Yeah.
Fiala and Franz do not fuck around.
Crime.
All those movies are kind of tough to watch. Goodnight Mommy and The Lodge, especially The Lodge is fucked
and they
up.
base it on a specific historical document from an Agnes Katharina Schicken from Württemberg, Germany in 1704. So real criminal trial cases where these people they wanted to die, they were suffering from depression, they didn't know how to escape because they were told if they tried they would go to hell.
Any final thoughts on the Vivitch, D-Rock, before we shut this down?
Just that it remains my number one movie. It's you kind of heard me going through, there's still stuff that I discovered for the first. I love that shot of them praying to the woods, they're oh, this is our savior. Oh man,
Dani?
Such a great movie.
Final thoughts?
I live deliciously every time I watch this movie.
I hope everyone's having a great VundaHalloweenathon. I hope everyone's having a great Witchy Wednesday.
I haven't yet, but I know I will.
Tweet us at VundaCast. Check us out on TikTok at VundaCast. And, of course, any updates will be posted on www.vundablog.com. I've been your host, Steven.
I've been Dani.
And I am D-Rock.
And remember, kids, when you're taking care of your younger siblings, if they disappear, just blame it on that silly old wolf. Wolf is the perfect scapegoat.
I saw no wolf.
Hail Vunda. Hail Vunda.
VundaCast? Give it up for VundaCast, man. What an adorable name.
You're listening to the VundaCast.
What's up, everybody? This is Jason David Frank, Green Ranger. You're listening to VundaCast.
You can find it at VundaCast, and I know they love Effie.
The clock strikes the 4 o'clock hour. What will you do, child, but turn your computers to radiate.fm to sup deep the cup of
Subscribe
VundaCast
to the VundaCast.
with your hosts, Steven, D-Rock, and Dani.